All right, cool. So we are recording. So we are here at Mothers Illuminated with Benny D, who's absolutely amazing, the COO of Ted Carr, and runs the whole sales division. And you're like super young too, which I think is just amazing to be this young and be able to say you're a COO. But
I
give everyone a little bit about yourself and where you're at.
I appreciate that. I've gotten to the age where I tell people I've just gotten to 28. Like it used to be when I was like 13, I'd be like, no, I'm basically like 14. I'm gonna be 14 in like 6 months. But now I'm like, no. I just like it was 5 days ago. I just turned 28. So I'm growing up. But yeah, I'm Benny D. I'm the COO of Contentpreneurs and optins.com. We help coaches and content creators scale to $10,000 a month. And I'm really, really happy to be doing my job. It's a really fun thing to do. What specifically do you want to know? Do you want to know how I got here? Like, how can I help?
Yeah, of course. So I figure we'll start off with your story because you said 28, which is super. You're like a little spring chicken. So I would love, I'd love to hear more about kind of, how you actually got to where you're at now, that story and what that was like.
Yeah, it's a long story. I'll try and make it as succinct as possible.
Mhm.
So I grew up and realized pretty early that I wasn't meant for school. I didn't really enjoy the teachers. I always felt like they had their own ego drama going on. They would always take out their stuff on me. I think they always got mad because I could see them. I would like be that little fourth grader. They'd be like, "Oh, Miss M, she drank wine last night. She's having a tough one, right?" And so they would take it out on me. So I pretty early on realized that the normal route wasn't right for me. So I started doing entrepreneurial stuff. I would work after class and fourth grade, and I would get candy from the teacher and I'd go and sell it in my bus groups. I would sell weed once I turned to like eighth grade. When I got into college, I was still selling weed. I was selling something. I was always selling something. There's always something to sell. And I was always looking for something different. And at age 17, I started doing music. I have this message, I had this thought from God since a very young kid that I need to help other people.
Mhm.
And so when school was pushed upon me, I was like, all right, I'll be a therapist and I'll help other people by doing therapy work.
Mhm.
Then that didn't work out. I got kicked out of college and I said, okay, I'll be a musician and I'll help people with my music. And so from 17 years to 21, I worked as a waiter during the day
Mhm.
and then I just made music all night. And I just did that. And what I found at the end of those years, half a decade, was I was so broke.
Mhm.
I was so broke. And I was like making this music and I loved it, but I was in my creative genius, but I wasn't in my logical genius. And
Mhm.
I decided I needed to make a shift. I decided I really need something to change. I need some monetary value because I want to have family. I want to have kids. I just got into this relationship at 21 years old and I really love this woman. And so I looked up to God and said, listen, man, I'm going to get really rich. And he said, all right, all right. And
Mhm.
then COVID hit. Boom. I
Mhm.
took it as a sign and I said, okay, this is my time. I started getting workers' comp and I just started researching everything.
Mhm.
Started investing into crypto. I had $8,000 to my name, invested all over crypto, and ended up turning that 8,000 into 20 grand.
Mhm.
Then turned that 20 grand into $500,000 by some stroke of genius. It wasn't me. It wasn't that I was smart. It wasn't that I was special. It was just that everybody was making tons of money in crypto.
Mhm.
And so now I'm this 22-year-old and I've got a fat stack,
Mhm.
but I'm super depressed. And I
Mhm.
realized, whoa, in getting to this money, I completely forgot my mission, which is to help other people. And so then I went through this rebuilding phase where I just started investing in courses and buying stuff to be better about myself. I tried drop shipping, tried Forex, I tried in a t-shirt company, I tried copywriting, tried everything you could think of under the sun that you guys have probably tried. I've tried it, and none of them resonated with me until I got to coaching. Bought a program and started helping other coaches improve their copywriting because words are what I'm good at, and
Mhm.
improve their sales team because words are what I'm good at, and
Yeah.
ended up getting connected with Ted Carr. And then Ted and I started working. I started running his sales team. The first two was just me. I was doing all the DMs, I was doing all the discovery calls, all the sales calls. It was going very well. And that's really how I got here, is trying to figure out a way to make money, but in tandem help people. And this
Mm,
is the best space that I've found to this day, that you can find the right people who are pure, they're conscious, and their goal is to help people.
mm.
And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm staying here. This is why I love to be here.
I love that. And I love how in the beginning you were doing music, but you were super strung out and broke. And it's like, yeah, this is my passion, but I have no money now. And then you pursued money, and it's like, okay, now I've got all this money, but I'm not happy. And so it's like finding that good balance of like something you're passionate about, but you can still bring money in. And I think that's really important, is because especially for, our audience, which is moms and women, right? A lot of times we really struggle with that, where it's like the things that we're passionate about, how do you make that make money? And how do you figure out? So if you were to give some advice to somebody who's sitting there and saying, I've got all these different avenues that I can pursue, how do I hone in on something I'm passionate about that's also profitable?
That's such a good question. That's what I think about all the time, because you're 100% right. I went from one far side to one far side, and then I've sort of found the middle. And what I like to always say is, there's what you want to sell, and then there's what people are wanting to buy. And you
Mm.
need to look at that Venn diagram and find that little overlap right in the middle, and make some concessions on your side so that you can make sure that you're selling what people want, because it's not about us at the end of the
Mm.
day, right? And so as long as we're selling something that can help other people, you can have your hobby and your pastime. Like now I go hang out at school headquarters. I'm going there tomorrow, and we're going to record music videos and make music with the chief of staff, Nick. So you can make your money, and then you can have your hobby on the side. And then what happens is usually it just starts to intertwine. But always make sure that there's what you want to sell and there's what people want to buy, and it overlaps. And if you're selling high ticket, it's in the big four, right? You're helping
Mhm.
people make more money. You're helping people get more beautiful. You're
Yeah.
helping people, yeah, with their relationship, or you're helping people with chronic pain. And optimally in the top two, wealth and beauty. Those are just, you can always sell those. They're highly quantifiable.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I love that, you know, I think one of the things that I've noticed is with all the different entrepreneurs, their story is always the same. Like when they're kids, they're selling stuff. It's actually funny. So when I was in elementary school, I loved writing. And in like first grade, I was actually really good at it. Like I remember that we'd get these assignments of like write a paragraph, and they'd give you like the sheet of paper with all the lines on it. And I'd fill out the whole first and second back, because I'm like, how do you write a story in a paragraph, right? And my teacher was like blown away. And so I started writing books, and I would back on like the old like Microsoft, Word on the big Sony computers. And I'd, write up like a little book of like 10 pages, which of course on like the first grade was a lot. And then I'd print them out and go to school and sell books for like $1.
Oh, wow. That's what's up. You're pushing your own stories.
I was, and I was able to sell a few. I mean, obviously it didn't like last super long, but it was pretty funny. And I remember even at that age, I had just that mindset of like, how can I make money with what I'm doing? And I
So
think
cool.
it's funny that so many entrepreneurs, when I hear their stories, it's very similar. It's like you're a kid and you just have a completely different mindset than most kids. Um, but I would love to hear kind of how a little bit about that, because most of my audience too, like we're moms and we've got children. And so I even see that in my own kids. My 6-year-old makes and sells soap. And so like I think that'd be really cool to kind of talk a little bit about what that was like as an entrepreneurial kid. And I homeschool because I like to have more control over my kids' lives, and I like to also foster them as an individual versus sticking them in a school system. But I was in the public school system. It sounds like you were as well. What would you kind of say what it was like growing up as an entrepreneurial minded child?
I still haven't completely dug through my childhood, so I'm not going to act like this
Yeah.
is cut and dry, but it's definitely something that I think about often. There are a lot of factors that go into it. For me, I'm half, my dad was black and my mom was white,
Mm.
and we grew up in a predominantly white community. So
Mhm.
that was I was already like the black sheep. I was already
Yeah.
there's like two other black kids at my school. And
Yeah.
I say black loosely because I look like I could pass on a
Yeah.
sometimes I
Yeah.
I'm white. That's a whole nother discussion. But
Yeah.
I always felt different. So that was something that created un- uncomfortability,
Mhm.
and uncomfortability usually creates consciousness, right? A very
Mm.
uncomfortable moment. Also, my dad was never home, right? Amazing guy. Parents are still together, but he was grinding, grinding, grinding.
Mm.
So I was always trying to impress him when I did see him there. So I'd be like,
Mm.
just like you, I'd be writing songs and writing stories for him, trying to like make him like, wow, Benny, you're amazing. I was always trying to impress him. So those two factors led into enough uncomfortability that I started to think differently, that just kind of sparked something. So at 7, something just sparked with me where I started to see things. And also since I was Black, most people were looking for me to mess up. And so my
Mm.
dad taught me at a very young age, you need to speak beautifully. You can't
Yeah.
sound Black, right? You
Mm.
need to be very aware of the room. You need
Mm.
to understand what's going on. He could clear his throat and I would sit up. I was very aware. I was there. I was conscious. I wasn't like stuck in the past. I wasn't stuck in the present as you start to get as you grow older, right?
Mm.
I stuck with that childlike energy of I'm in the present, I'm here, I'm aware.
Mm.
And I think that's one of the main factors. I also went to a really nice school as a kid before they put me in a worse school because I was misbehaving. So I got a great education. So like the key factors that I see for success in a child and what I'm going to look for when me and my fiance have children. By the way, that woman that I loved at 21, we're now engaged to be married November 22nd. Amazing. Yeah.
Congratulations.
So
That's
dream
exciting.
came true. So awesome. I am looking for a good education. I want my kid to be well read because books completely changed my life. The more words that you know, the more intelligently you can think in your own brain. So I want my child to be well read. That was a huge factor in my child like experience. And I would look for somebody who can get along with other kids. So I want to
Mm.
homeschool my kid as well, but I'm terrified because I don't want my kid to be ostracized and not know how to communicate with other children, right? So I need to find
Yeah.
that balance. So me being able to communicate and get along with other kids was amazing. Me being the funny guy in school was amazing. It was really important. It was really
Mm.
good. And being able to get along with any other clique. Like I could go through any clique and I'd be friends with them. That's so cool. So
Mhm.
that, and then a level of stress, right? I've looked
Mm.
into this a couple of times. Like there's a certain amount of stress or a certain amount of trauma, if you want to call it, that
Yeah.
you can put on a kid that allows them to click and then move through the trauma, right?
Mm.
Too much
Yeah.
and they can't move through it and they suffocate and it's not good. But giving them that ability to move through that
Mhm.
trauma, those are the big things that I think played a part in me getting success because I never gave up and I'll never give up, and continuing to success and
Mhm.
continuing to try and find ways to challenge myself. Yeah. What
Yeah.
do
I
you
love
think about
that.
that?
I love it so much. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. So, we homeschool, and I will say that is a huge myth that homeschooled kids don't socialize, right? There's so many opportunities out there for homeschooling, like I live in New Hampshire, and we have a huge community of homeschoolers here, and so many different like field trips that the kids go on and stuff like that. And like I think it's really cool because like there was even one day where I organized a field trip because my oldest at the time wanted to be an astronaut. She was like hell bent on getting to space. And she was like 2 years old too, which is crazy. Like she was 2 years old and she like watched rockets shoot off into space and she like loved it. And they had this space exhibit happening in Boston. And I was like, we got to go to this thing. So I posted in the homeschooling group, I'm like, we're going. Who wants to come? Because if we can get a group of so many people, you get a discount, right? For the tickets. So I organized the whole thing and a bunch of us went down to Boston and we got to do it all together. And, I have a whole bunch of pictures of her like looking, it was a whole like moon landing exhibit. So it had like the difference, you could see like the different space shuttles and the different helmets and all this stuff. So it was really cool. They absolutely loved it. But again, it was funny because I did notice. I think a lot of this is very like that entrepreneurial spirit, right? Because this is my same child who's now selling soap, and she was the kid that went around and got every other kid comfortable. And I noticed that. It was really interesting because all the kids are kind of awkward because like they don't really know each other, right? So it's kind of weird. But she was the one that just went up to every single kid and started talking with them. And by the time they let us into the exhibit, all the kids were playing and having a great time. And I was like so proud of her in that moment, though, just seeing her kind of break out and helping these other kids break out. So I definitely think that that entrepreneurial spirit is so integrated in exactly that, like you're talking about being able to get along with other kids, right? She wanted to learn how to read at a really young age too. We still are working on it now. She's like more interested in other things. She's evolved now. She wants to be a doctor, right? But all things that are admirable. But I love watching the kids evolve and just kind of seeing like how we can help foster that in an entrepreneurial way. And they watch everything that I'm doing, and like they are growing up knowing that this is possible, which is really cool too. So I love, because you're also connected with so many people at school. Like I know Daniel's was homeschooled. I think I saw in some of his stuff. And it seems to be it's a very popular trend for a lot of entrepreneurs that they homeschool or they stick them in more specialized schools as well. But I'd love to kind of hear, so you're engaged. Have you guys talked about kind of what the future might look like as you're evolving your family and what that might look like?
Yeah. Oh, maybe your team, your people, your community can give me some support. If you guys have any advice for a young man trying to become a father, trying to, do the right things. I'm watching The Godfather, trying to learn from Vito Corleone. He's like, a man who doesn't spend time with his family is not a man. Gee, crying. Yeah. So we've been in a relationship, must be 6, 7 years now, and I proposed in December. We moved in January to California, Boston to California, and now we're gonna get married November 22nd this year. And I want to have kids. I do. I'm very excited. I definitely want a son. I have 3 sisters, so I wouldn't mind 2 kids, maybe 3. But I don't want to slow down yet.
Yeah.
I was just going through this thought process with my friends, my boys, our team. Things are just getting good. And Felicity and I had spoken with my fiance about, when I'm 30 years old, that's a perfect time, because she's 24, I'm 28. I got 4 years on her, so by the time I'm 30, she's 26. It's a great age. Thinking like 2 more years. At 25, 30 was like so far away. Now it's like 2 years, then we're gonna start having kids. So that's my thought process. At 30, I'll start having kids. But that's where I need to learn again. Like, I freaking love what I do. I love to wake up, drink tons of juice, right? And just hydrate my body, and then just work. Like this 8:20 a.m. right now, I want to wake up at 7, get my 8 hours of sleep, because I'm spoiled and I prioritize sleep over everything.
Yeah.
And then I just want to work until 12. I want to burn my brain out, and I want to go for a walk. I want to listen to some Neville Goddard. I want to come back, maybe have some lunch, have my rice, and then sit down and take some calls and work, and then go to the gym, crush the gym, hit a sauna, do a cold bath, come home, read my book, fall asleep. I love that. And even in doing that, I feel like there's not enough time.
Yeah.
So the thought of bringing kids into the mix, it's not computing in my brain. So I would like to learn from you. Like, how the heck do you do it?
Yeah. So I will say, first of all, kids are the biggest blessing in the whole world, but they are the strongest motivators, right? And so it's funny, because even thinking like take a step back and slow down and things like that, I don't think kids make you slow down. I mean, there is a degree, like obviously childcare happens and you have to take care of your kids, but you have the advantage where I think this is where a lot of moms in the audience are going to be like, you can still do what you want to do because you got your partner who's going to be taking care of the kids, right? Whereas a lot of us moms are building businesses while taking care of kids, right? But all of that to say, like, you can definitely keep that momentum, and you can bring your kids along to it. I have so many pictures. I got to find them, but I have a ton of pictures of me like going to networking meetings, when I had different businesses with my kids, like either strapped to me like as babies or in the car seat, and you do what you got to do. And I would say they have never slowed me down to the degree that I felt like I didn't have enough time in the day because of my kids. However, that being said, as the woman, like going through pregnancy is really hard on the body. Giving birth, postpartum, right? Those are the things that I would say definitely slow down businesses, because they're really hard on the body. You're a lot more exhausted. You're getting the brain fog, right? Like all of those types of things. The actual baby themselves, not at all. I could do that 100 times. And I've even told my husband, because we have 4, right? And our oldest is 6. So in the past 6 years, we had 4 kids. And so it was just like constant, constant pregnancy, birth, maternity leave, all of that. Um, and even now, the only reason why we wouldn't have more kids is because like I don't want to do pregnancy and birth again. You know, if it happens, it happens. But like I'm not like at this point we feel pretty done. Could I have more kids? Like we've even talked about maybe when our kids are a little older, we could even adopt some, right? That's kind of something that's on our heart. But having kids has just been the biggest motivator. And, you know, even right now, when I think of my kids, it's like everything that I'm doing is for nothing if I didn't have them, right? And everything that I'm planning on doing with my business, to me, I provide more opportunities with my kids. And as my kids get older, I can integrate them into the business, right? And so those are things that I'm always thinking of too. Like I've got built-in workers for me, right? As they get older, I teach them these skills and then they work for me. And then when they're 18, hey, if you want to help me run this business, awesome. But if you want to now use all the skills that I've taught you and build your own thing, I will back you and bless you 100%, right?
I love that.
And
Yeah.
so that's the way I view it. And I love like being able to bring my kids to everything. I was actually just I have tickets for Goose's in real life event, which is in September actually in Austin. So I'm going to fly down for it. I'm super excited about it. But my youngest will be a little over 1. And I'm like, I don't know if he's still going to be nursing at that time, you know, because that's kind of right at that edge. Like, I don't know. And so I even asked him, I was like, if I need to, can I bring my 1-year-old with me? And he's like, yeah, sure. It'll be a little loud, but that's fine. So who knows? Maybe I'll be showing up with my 1-year-old. But the cool thing is like, it's funny. I was even talking to my husband about it. And I said, how many people get to give their kids that experience? He'll be 1. He's not going to remember it. But he can sit there and when he's older, be like, I have pictures of being 1 years old at this like crazy event with like full of these entrepreneurs who are like making loads of money, you know, like that's the environment they got to grow up in, you know. And so like I have a goal of winning the school games at some point within the next year. And that's another thing, like bringing my kids to the school games mansion. You bet your ass I'm going to do that, you know, like I want them to be growing up in that environment. And I want other people to also see that you don't have to like leave your kids at home. You don't have to slow down just because you've got kids. You can bring them and have them around that environment and help that mold them too. But I'd love to learn. So one of the things that a lot of moms really struggle with is the balance of being a mom while also running a business. But a lot of it is also figuring out how to actually sell what they're doing. And you're the sales guy. So I would love to do like a super deep dive into kind of sales, how that works. And I know a lot of it starts with the offer, but what's kind of the sales formula? If someone's sitting there and saying, I'm stuck and I'm not making sales, what's the first thing you would kind of go to?
Cool. I'm gonna imagine that they already have good content. Are
Mm-hmm.
we imagining they already have good content and a good offer? Or are
Mm-hmm.
we imagining that they don't have leads?
Yeah.
I need to know. Yeah. Is it like they already have content and they have great leads and they have people that want to buy and they already have a good offer and they just need to know what to sell? Or is it like from the very beginning, like content?
From the very beginning. So let's think
Okay.
of like this is someone who's struggling with content. Let's start there because we'll deep dive into everything.
Okay.
So if someone's having a hard time with content, first of all, why is that important to selling?
Mhm.
And how could they improve that?
Cool. So there's 3 types of ways to make leads appear. And
Mhm,
personally, I don't love content. I'm not a guy that's like, oh, post all the time. One of the
mhm,
ways that we do make leads appear is content. The 3 ways is you can create organic content, usually on Instagram or YouTube. You can do joint ventures where you reach out to people who are already doing what you want to do. And you say, hey, dude, I see you've got this huge, amazing following list. I'm going to pay you $1,000. I want to do a joint webinar where I'm going to speak to all of your people, and anybody who wants to start an online business or whatever your offer is can join. And then anybody that signs up, I'm going to give you $10 per sign up or $1 per sign up.
mhm,
And anybody who buys the program after this webinar, I'm going to give you 10%. So it's like
mhm,
1, right? For us, we do $5,000, we do 5% and $5 per opt-in, right?
mm,
We call it the 5-5-5 method. So if you have no audience, no problem. You can just find somebody, send them that message. You can send that to 100 people, and just mathematically, percentage wise, there's a chance that somebody's going to go, okay, cool. And then what happens is after you've done that once, you make that person a lot of money, right? You immediately give them 1,000, then you sell some stuff on the back end. You can now take this to everybody else. Hey, I just did a webinar and I made Johnny $3,000. I want to do it with you. And the person is going to go, oh, wow, I want $3,000. Cool.
Yeah.
So leveraging other people's audiences is number 2. And then running paid ads, which is personally my favorite. You can put $5 to $10 a day into something. For us, we do vertical video. And this, we go in a little more in depth on this later, but you do vertical video, talk about a pain point. Are you a health conscious woman who wants to make a full-time income healing people's chronic disease? Watch this video and then you talk about exactly how to do it. Book a call with my team or get this free training. It goes to an opt-in page. They opt in, they watch a training, and then they book a call. So those are the 3 ways to do it. I actually lean towards paid ads and joint ventures. Thank you. I'm getting my lineup of juices. Those are my 2 favorites. Organic's cool as well. YouTube is great. Do a long form video. Look at what's already crushing. Look at the thumbnail it's already performing. Look at the title that's already performing. Take the exact hook that they use. In this video, I'm going to show you how to boom, do a proof, promise, plan, do a proof of who the heck are you and why are we going to trust you, do a promise of what's going to be in the video, and then plan, actually walk them through what the heck's going to go down and then show them. So those are the 3 ways to make content. You need to start doing that immediately, one of them. And now you have leads, right? Let's now assume you're doing it. Now you've got leads. You've been consistent with it. Now we want to, if it's content, create calls to action on our Instagram, where we go on our story and we talk about that brutal before, divine discovery. Now, wow, I love going on my story and doing this because it inspires the heck out of people. I used to be broken, depressed, and suicidal, and I had no clue what I was doing. I was working as a waiter and barely scraping by. Photo of you working as a waiter, looking all sad. And me, I'm like all skinny and unhealthy.
Yeah.
And then the next thing, it wasn't until I poured 5 years of my life into searching for the right knowledge to make money, traveling the world, doing what I want, and getting my time freedom back, that everything changed for me. It's the divine discovery. Next page. If you want 5 years, half a decade of knowledge condensed into one user guide, so you can go from 0 to $10,000 a month as an online coach, just DM me the word coach and I'll send it through. Now you're taking all these leads, these people who are in this pot, right? Your social media is your pot. And what's going to happen is the hottest people are going to bubble to the top because heat rises, right? And then these CPAs are just going to scrape the hottest people. They're going to send you those DMs. Or on YouTube, they're going to click the link in your description. Or on an ad, they're going to click to go to the opt-in page. Or on a JV, they're going to respond. So now you've moved to that next level. On a DM, now what you're going to want to do, and now I'm just going to stick with the content so that people don't see me jumping back and forth because it will get confusing. Now you're on a DM. Now you're going through a specific DM script. Super duper simple. We have scripts for everything. Standard operating procedure. They reach out. They want the thing. Hey, name, here's the guide on how I went from 0 to $10,000 a month as an online coach. By the way, are you already running a business or are you looking to get one started? Boom. An either or question that answers good both ways. Looking to get one started or already have one. Cool.
Let's say that's my this or that question.
So good. It's amazing. Cool. Amazing time to get started. Curious, what's your monthly income goal? They say 5K a month. Cool. 5K a month, totally doable. What's the biggest roadblock? They say, oh, I don't know where to start and I don't have any content and I don't know what to sell. Cool. A lot of people get stuck there. Do you think it would be useful to hop on a quick 10 to 15 minute call? They say, yes. I'm jumping on that 10 to 15 minute call, showing up. I'm like, how's it going, man? Building that rapport. They're like, I'm doing all right. I'm like, okay. Now my tone's going, okay, you're doing all right, dude. What's a good thing that happened in the last 7 days? Oh, I have a rapport. We laugh. Then I take them through the exact discovery call script that I have. And at the end, I ask, okay, like if we could get you set up to make 5K a month, would you have funds available to make that happen? They say, how much? I say, this range, this range. They say, yeah, I could do that. Book them onto a sales call, hour long, vibe out with this guy, learn more about him. And then they buy the program. Boom, bada bing, bada boom, done. Super duper simple cold to soul flow. Content to conversations to close. That's the 3 C's. Now, the biggest thing that depends on this is that back end. For a closing, super duper simple. There's 3 things that you need to focus on. You need to focus on your tone, because if you're talking to somebody like this the entire time, then they're not going to enjoy it, right? You need to
Yeah,
focus
yeah.
on, you got to focus on your tone. If you're having a sad moment, you need to be sad. You need to
Mhm.
go there with them. You need to bring your energy down. It's a sacrifice. You're there for them. If you're having a happy moment, then you need to be happy. You need to bring your
Mhm.
energy up so that you can be up with them. So you need to focus on your tone. You need to focus on your speed, because again, if you're speaking really, really fast, people aren't going to get you and they're not going to be able to go deep. And then you need to focus on your objection handles. As long as you can handle the objections at the end, then you're golden. What's great about how we run our business is we just give all of our clients the scripts, so they don't have to worry about proving a script, right?
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
so difficult if everything you ask isn't proven to succeed. But if you
yeah.
know that if you just read the script correctly, 25% of the time people are going to buy, then
Mhm.
all you have to do is focus on how you're reading it. And there's already a perfect way to read it. And we walk our clients through exactly how to read it with the right tone, what
Yeah.
speed to read it at. And then we give them all the objection handles. That's it. You're
Mhm.
done. Sales is, it really is so easy. And the
Mhm.
ways to improve, and I'll go on a little tangent. The ways to improve your closing rate once you've done those 3 things is show up looking like a trustable human being. So
Mm.
funny. I tell this all the time. I have a green sweater that I wear that improves my close rate by 5% every time I wear it. So I wear that freaking green sweater for closing calls. I was talking to Felicity. I was like, should I wear the green sweater? Should I wear the green? It's like, no, you can wear this. You're fine. I love that green sweater. So wearing the
Love it.
green sweater, having a cool backdrop. So me, I just moved. So I need to get another backdrop. But like ChatGPT will even tell you this. Put a plant in your background, get a nice
Mhm.
camera, maybe get some backlights that are purple or something, um, a desk with some books to show that you're well read, and then a nice light in front. Just
Mm.
looking the part. I don't know about you, but when I get on, because I still buy stuff all the time. I love to buy stuff. If
Yep.
I get on a sales call and the guy's got the sick setup, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm buying.
Yeah.
I'm, I'm in. I'm in. Those
Yeah.
little things help a lot.
That's so funny. That's so true. Yeah, I guess my my cat condo and my crazy kid kitchen with all the artwork on the fridge probably
No,
isn't
you
gonna
know what
cut
you're
it, huh?
doing. You're selling the mom. You're
Yeah.
selling the mom. Yeah,
Well, I think that's important too, right? Like actually knowing your avatar and who you're trying to sell to and
yeah,
connecting with them in that way.
big time.
Absolutely. So I love that. So it's content, which for you it's paid ads, joint ventures, or creating organic content, which typically is on YouTube, right?
Yep.
Um, and then the joint venture. So if someone wanted to go the joint venture route, right? You said basically just 100 people that they know. But I think a lot of us also have the idea of like, oh my gosh, I would love to connect with this person, right? That kind of seems like a pipe dream. What would be your recommendation for someone who wants to be able to connect with that pipe dream?
Yeah. I recommend that everybody on your list is a pipe dream, right? Seriously, like that's why it's called the Dream 100. I want you to find a list of 100 people that would be your dream to work with, people that you
Mm.
look up to, like Myron Golden's on my Dream 100. Like find
She's
people
on
that
mine
you,
too.
yeah, there you go, right? So, and he's great at employing his children. I was going to bring that up,
Mm.
but you,
Yeah.
you you two would hit it off. But find a list, create a list of 100 people, have their social medias, have their names and what they do, and then reach out to every single one of them. Because
Mhm.
again, yeah, if they've got 1.2 million followers, yeah, they probably might not respond right away. But
Mhm.
as you get through this Dream 100, because there's going to be some people that
Mm.
maybe don't have 1.2 million, maybe they've got 100,000.
Mm.
I've got 22,000. My boy Flex has 1 million followers, and he
Mm.
still looks at all of his DMs, right? So these people are
Yeah.
watching. People are definitely watching. And so if you send out 100 messages, what's going to happen is you just need one. It's like
Yeah.
making your first sale. Once you make that first sale, the limiting belief is gone. So find somebody that's not too difficult for you on that Dream 100, maybe 50,000 followers. Reach
Mhm.
out, get that joint venture, go through it with them, make one sale from their audience, right?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
now you've done it. We just did it with Andrew Kirby. Andrew Kirby
Mhm.
and Synthesizers and Aiden. We reached out to them. We were like, yo, let's freaking do it. Actually, they reached out to us, and we made them like, I don't know, like 15 grand off of
Nice.
off of like one post. I don't even think he posted. He just sent like 5 people our way and 4 of them bought. And he's like,
Yeah.
there you go, 15 grand. So
Nice.
again, it's always profitable for the people that you do it for,
Mm,
because you're giving them a percentage of the earnings. And all you need to do is do your due diligence and send out those 100 messages, and you'll get
yeah,
one person.
I love that. And then, so let's dive into paid ads because I know you said that's kind of your favorite way to do it. And then there's video. So we've actually got ads running right now to our community. I've officially hired a professional to do it because I was like, I'm not dealing with that anymore. And we're crushing it, which is awesome. So we have right now, I think it's about $3 to $4. We're running it straight to the free community, and we have about a $3 to $4 per registration is what we're paying right now. So it's going pretty well. Um, and yeah, it's going pretty well, but we found that the images are what's doing better than the video for us, which is interesting.
Which is
But
better, because then you don't have to create new videos.
right, yeah, much easier for sure. But what would you say? So give us a little bit of advice on kind of how you guys run paid ads and kind of what people can look for in terms of to know if the ad's performing well, how to actually do all of that.
Yeah, it's a great question. So immediately the metric that I'm looking for is return on ad spend, right? Cost to acquire a client, because it's the closest to the end of the sale. Like the earlier you get in the funnel, the less information that you're actually getting. So
Yeah.
what we tie it to, we do an ad, a video ad or a text-based ad. They click on the ad and it goes to an opt-in page. We actually created the software, optins.com, so we might as well use it.
Yeah.
They go in, they put in their information, and then they get to a video and they watch it for 10 minutes.
Mhm.
2 minutes in, a link pops up that says schedule a call with our team. The people
Mhm.
that watch for at least 2 minutes and click that link, book the call, then get redirected to a discovery call booked video where Ted's like, hey, jump in Jennifer, you booked a call. That has a pixel on it that we're actually using, and that's cost per appointment. So
Okay.
that's the furthest, that's the closest to the sale other than the sale itself
Hmm.
that we're tracking. So we're tracking the cost to acquire an appointment.
Hmm.
We still have lead booked. I won't get into all the complicated stuff, but yeah,
Yeah.
we're still letting the pixel learn, but we're optimizing for that, and we're optimizing for anywhere from $50 to $200 to acquire an actual appointment. Yeah,
Hmm.
so that's the way we run it.
Okay, cool. And then, but you guys have a whole sales team. So you've got people who, actually take all those calls. So for the person who doesn't have a sales team, right? This was one thing that I found because, again, being a mom who's got a family and everything, when I first started, I was doing all my own discovery calls. I was doing my own sales calls. I was doing everything. And honestly, it just felt like my whole day was filled with DM setting in the
Uh,
Facebook DMs and then doing the discovery calls. And a bunch of them weren't qualified by finances, right? And so they didn't end up going on to the sales calls. And then of the people who were going to the sales calls, I wasn't closing as many of them as I would have liked. And so if you're kind of going back to, the mom who might be in that situation, what would be your recommendation there?
yeah, it's a great question. Number one, I would say the more people that go through,
Mhm.
the higher chances you're going to close, right? Because if you let 1,000 people in, but some of them aren't qualified, there's still some people that are,
Mm,
right? But the more tight your filter is, the less of those on the fringe people who would buy but haven't decided to buy yet,
mm,
those people aren't getting through.
mm,
So I would try and find the balance, because you're on a time crunch. I would put in my Calendly questionnaire, because you can ask questions before,
mhm.
especially when running ads, because ads can book your calendar full of absolute garbage leads.
Yeah.
I say, like, you must be in between 25 to 40 to book a call. You must want to be a coach or a
Mm,
content creator. Like, don't book a call if you're not a coach or a content creator. You must want or already have an offer in the big four. I have that as a question. Which
mm,
of the big four are you in? Wealth, beauty, relationships, or chronic pain? Right? You have to be in one of those. So I'll
mm,
do that filtration process. I also make it hard for Metapixel when I'm running ads. Again, it's tracking the cost to get an appointment. So it's optimizing for that. It's not optimizing for a bunch of leads that just opt in. No, it's
Yeah.
optimizing for people that actually go through the entire process. So I make it difficult. I put disqualifying words in the ads as well. Are you a woman who's health conscious that wants to help people with their health? Like anybody else, get the heck out of here. This is not for you. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're actively disqualifying. And then after we've done all the disqualifying, I'm gonna follow up, text them, are you gonna show up? Message me back that you're gonna show up, email them, message me back if you're gonna show up, I'm not wasting my time. And now that I've said all the technical stuff, I'm gonna empathize with you. It's hard. It's hard. I I was a young man and I was DM setting and I was discovery calling and sales calling and I was barely sleeping. I was working like 12 hours a day trying to clean out our inbox. It never got cleared. And 12 hours I would just sit at my computer and I would do all of that. And it was horrible. It wasn't good for my nervous system. It sucked. But there are seasons to life and I understood that that was a grind season for me. And I had to go through that grind season. And I got it done. And then I was able to delegate. So getting through that grind season is so important. And once the business is making, $10,000 a month, you can bring on a setter, right? You can bring on a setter paying 7.5%. They're making $750 a month. And when you bring on a setter, they'll probably make, you'll probably do 15K that month. They'll probably make like 1,200, which is amazing. You just need to get that solid base. Once you have that solid base, now 10x is easier than 2x. Dan Sullivan, read the book, start delegating, break the limiting belief that people can't do what you can do. It's so funny. Ted taught me everything that I know. And even when Ted was like, you should probably hire a team. I'm like, nobody can do what I do. He's like, dude, I trained you how to do this in like 2 months. Like,
Yeah.
train
someone else in 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big, nice little humble ego check. And so you can absolutely train people. Like if you're a coach and you get paid to coach people,
Yeah.
then you can probably train your team, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Then you just have to get into the right hiring process. But other than that, Holden, you can do this. This is so doable. This is the best modality. This is the best way to make money in 2025 and this center 2025. Yeah.
Yes, we're in 2025.
Cool. Okay. Best place to be. There's nothing better. Like I've looked everywhere. If there's something better, I would be there. I'm always searching. This is it. This is amazing. So as long as you've decided this is where I want to be, this is the vehicle that I want to leverage to make more money and help more people, you can 100% do it. Like these are the steps. There's a model that works. I have so much free time now. Like you guys, I told you my schedule in the beginning. Like my schedule is it's heaven. I love my life. Ted works like 2 hours a day, works less than me.
Yeah.
And especially like you guys are CEOs. I'm the COO. I take over when you guys crush.
Yeah.
I come in and I clean up and I do all the day-to-day tasks. You guys are going to be conceptualizing somewhere on a beach or with your family and thinking of the next thing. Like my job is to come into businesses like yours and let you chill so you can actually think of what's next, because you're going to get to a point where the business is running so well that you now get to think of the next thing, which is what Ted just did. He worked for school for 6 months, learned with Sam Ovens one-on-one, kicked it with Hermosi, and then invented a new software. Right.
Yeah.
He could only do that because he learned how to delegate. I came in and I did my thing. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Building the team is so important.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your day-to-day and kind of how you do manage running a team, hiring, right? Making sure like keeping everyone accountable. Your whole team is remote, right? So I'd love to learn more about that too, because I've heard so many people that they bring everybody in and they love having a location because it helps people be more accountable. But you guys have a remote team and you guys are crushing it. So I'd love to hear some of your tips and tricks.
Yeah. That's a great way to say it though. Like location is amazing. We have our sales team out right now in California because we're a family. So we've just been getting all in the car at like 9 a.m, going into this place called Love Life. It was a gym, but it also has like a sauna and a cold plunge and like a cafe. It's amazing. It's like it's heaven. And we just worked there we got there at 9 yesterday and we left at 8:30 at night.
Oh
Like
my
we just
gosh.
stay there all day and we just work and we do everything that comes with it. It's
Yeah.
incredible. So having people in person is amazing, but remote is cool as well. The way that I like to run a team and the way that I went through the hiring process is one at a time.
Mhm.
Because if you hire everybody, it's going to be really difficult to keep the company culture. So Ted brought me on. There were already some coaches. They were already amazing. They were already in the company culture.
Mhm.
And your job as a CEO is to find one person and give them everything.
Mm.
Give them your thoughts, give them your your mindset, give them
Mm.
your beliefs, right? And find somebody who already kind of aligns with that. Me and Ted are
Mhm.
very, very similar in all of our beliefs.
Mhm.
And then they're going to be like a mini you. Mr. Beast does the same thing. He brings people on and he has them follow them around 24/7. And then he's like, okay, now just run this part of the business. So find somebody that you're going to chat with all of
Wow.
the time. All of the time. You're just going to pour into them. You're going to make that investment.
Mhm.
And then hire one to hire many. That one
Mm.
person can then go forward and hire where it hurts. Don't hire until it hurts. So when there comes a point in the business where you need a closer, where you need a video editor, you can have that guy go through the hiring process and see if they align with your values.
Mhm.
So the way to hire, the three places that I look, one is referrals. I go to all of my friends that I trust in the space. I go, yo, who do you got? I know you've got people hitting you up. Give me one of
Mhm.
them. Let's
Yeah.
see. Let's see. Right. Number two is my own community. So I'm posting on my social medias, hey, we're expanding, we're growing. Because number one, people are like, oh wow, business is going well. Number
Yeah.
two, people are gonna apply. And then number three, I'll hit up some. I mean, you can always go onto school. They have closer remote communities, and I'll hit up the leader and be like, yo, who do you have? Who's your best? So
Mm.
those are the three ways. And then I'm doing interviews. I'm jumping on. Usually I'll send a message if it's for closing and I'll tell them to read me a script so I know if they've got tone right away. I'll know if they have it. I'm
Mhm.
looking for somebody who's responding right away. That's huge. That's big for me because I'm still, if Ted messages me, my goal is 30 seconds I've responded. Right.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
that is one of my biggest value adds, especially when you don't have a ton of skills, right? And you need to learn the skills. The best thing you can do is just trade your time. So I'm just sitting
Yeah.
at the computer waiting for Ted. Oh,
Yeah.
Ted's like, all right, I'm here.
I love it.
Time, yeah. And then somebody who can speak is really important, especially on the
Mm.
sales side, because if somebody sounds like an idiot when they're selling your product, they're going to assume that you as a CEO is an idiot. They
Mm.
represent you. So you need somebody who can speak, but you need somebody who's also silent, who can shut up,
Mm.
right? You need somebody who can learn and listen. And then as a bonus, you need somebody who's coachable, who doesn't have too big of an ego. One of the
Mm.
dangerous things is when you give somebody feedback and they try and justify it.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I always look, can I give you feedback? And you go, you're right. Oh, that like you're turning me on, bro. That's good. That's good. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking for there.
Mhm.
And yeah, then just pour into the person. I'll hire them if they hit all the boxes and gut instinct as well. You guys are mothers, so like
Mm.
you've got the instinct. Like,
Yeah.
talk to the person, you'll know. And then I bring them on. For me, it was Amon,
Mm.
young kid. He reached out to me. He said, "Yo, I see you're crushing it with Ted. Anything I can do to help?" He was a referral from one of my friends, Matthew Morgan.
Mhm.
And so I said, okay, mutual friend, he's a referral. Let's do it. I had him start doing some outbound calls for me. He worked immediately. Immediately, he's like, cool, let's start today. I asked him, yo, are you free like in the next couple of days and weeks? He's like, how about right now?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, checking one box. Like, cool.
Yeah.
Get on the call, start chatting. Super duper hungry. He's speaking, he's talking, and then I start talking. He's listening. His eyes are like
Mhm.
hungry. And then
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, here, go do some outbound calls. Give him the task. He comes back. We review them. I tell him what he did wrong. He doesn't justify. He's like, you're right, you're right, you're right.
Mm.
Of that. And then we just keep on pouring into this guy. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pour into him, pour into him, pour into him. Goes from outbound caller to DM setter to discovery caller. Now he is our main sales caller. He's making,
Mm.
$5,000 to $10,000 a month as a 20-year-old kid traveling all over the world,
Yeah.
absolutely crushing it. Yeah, and it's all because he reached out, he was willing to do the work, he fit all the boxes, and I poured into him,
Mm,
poured into him. And then what happened? He hired somebody else.
mm,
That person hired somebody else. That person hired somebody else. I say if you want to move up in the business, you need to find your replacement. I found
mm.
my replacement. He found his replacement. He found his replacement. And it goes like that. It's a beautiful company culture where we turn people into leaders.
I love that.
Yeah, big time. And the last little piece, this is my philosophy on leadership. Leaders, the goal isn't to just tell people what to do.
Mhm,
The goal is to teach people in a way where they can lead themselves. A true
mm,
leader, you know, that's huge for me. I don't want to be the dude that if I'm gone, everything falls apart. I want to
mm.
be the dude where I leave and every single one of them is a leader and they know what to do and they can step up. And even on their own time, in their own families, they've now become leaders in their own life.
Mhm.
That's the goal right there.
Yeah, I love that, and it makes me think of there was actually a video I was watching with, Hermosi, and he had talked about it too, which was, like, when you're training your replacement, you should give them breaks of time where you tell them, like, "The goal is for my phone to not ring."
Mm,
Like, "You need to be able to manage this. If the toilet breaks, like, don't call me because what the heck am I gonna do? I'm not the plumber, right? You need to be able to think to call the plumber, you
yeah.
know? And so, I love that idea of just teaching people how to be leaders themselves to take on as the replacement so that everybody's just aligned in the culture, but everybody's competent. Like, that's powerful. I like that.
Fucking, it's amazing.
I'd love to learn more about building that culture as well. So I know one thing that I think is wild is Ted's like a fruitarian. He's such a specific and unique culture to him as a person. And so I'd love to first of all know, are all of you guys fruitarian? Like, do you guys all follow along that strictly to the culture? Or like, how do you guys build a culture that's like-minded, but still unique enough where everyone kind of has their, I don't want to say independence, but you know what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, you want the dirty secrets behind the scenes.
Oh, I do.
Wow.
That's what this podcast is all about.
Yeah, so yeah, if you don't
Share
know
what you're
Ted,
comfortable with, of course.
yeah, of course, Ted mainly just only eats fruit. That's his thing. He's been doing that since he was like 19 years old.
Mhm.
Now he's 35. So he's crushing it. He just did 28 pull-ups to show that you can do it with no protein. He's
Yeah.
in great shape. He's freaking amazing. I stopped eating meat as a waiter because I was so unhealthy. I was eating all the fried foods and I was getting so depressed. So at
Mm,
21, 22, I cut out meat. I haven't eaten meat since then. So what, 28, like 7 years.
mhm.
Um, yeah, I'll eat eggs every once in a while.
Yeah.
I'm not as pure as Ted,
Yeah.
but I still have pretty unique views and a unique diet. Sati, one of our closers, he was a fruitarian for a very long time. He went on a 90-day juice fast, so he's pretty almost all the way vegan as well, very similar
Mhm,
to me. And then we've got this two young guys, Kirill and Aman.
mhm.
They're here right now. I heard whispers that they went to Outback Steakhouse yesterday, so not as not
Yeah, not
yeah.
not as pure.
Yeah, but where that lacks, the other disciplines come in. So
Yeah.
it's not only like how we're eating, where Aman will only eat whole foods, right? So if
Mhm,
he is eating, it's only whole foods. Kirill is a bodybuilder, right? So
mhm,
he's still eating his diet specifically to maximize his gains.
mhm,
So you look at the diet. I'm big on diet. I would say like for me, juice in the morning. I'm getting tons and tons and tons of juice. I'm
mhm,
eating maybe 2 meals a day. I'll do juice and then I'll do a smoothie and then I'll
mm,
do rice and some beans, right? And
mhm,
that's it because that's what makes me feel the sharpest.
mm,
That's what makes me feel the most powerful, the most healthy. So I rock with that, and our whole team operates like that. Like when we don't look at food as a luxury, we look at food as fuel, and how do we
mm,
optimize our fuel for what we need to accomplish. So that's big. And then health, we work out insanely hard. Right. Tomorrow, our whole team is linking up at Love Life, our gym, and we're going to run a 5K
mm.
sub 20 minutes. Like we're aiming 19:59, which is pretty freaking like it's fast. So we're very serious. We challenge ourselves really hard. And anybody on our team that can't challenge themselves, they will not last on our team.
Yeah.
Freaking, we go hard. We work out hard. So
Mhm.
that's the belief system. We're only bringing on people who are like, let's freak. Even we got 2 women on our team. They show up there like, we're running a 5K. Let's go. Like, they're hard. Shout out Belen, right?
Love
Like,
it.
we go. And so that's big. We all believe in education. So for me, like, I've got all my books out, got like a little copywriting book. I'm reading my books every single day. I'm learning every single day. If I'm driving in the car with the boys, we're all listening to audiobooks. We're not listening to music. So we take
Mm.
our education very, very seriously. So education and learning. And then for our boys as well, I've got my prayer book. I've got my
Mhm.
Bible. We're all huge on spirituality.
Mm.
Every single one of us. So we've all got this overlapping of beliefs where we all go, this
Mm.
is important, this is important, this is important. We all agree it's important.
Mm.
For our team, it's very interesting because we're like salespeople, or like we
Mhm.
sell stuff, and most people are like hustle bro culture. It's
Mhm.
the very opposite for us. Our main
Mm.
goal, especially Ted, like he won't say this, so this is like the stuff that you don't know, but we just want spiritual enlightenment.
Mm.
Our main goal in life, I just bro, I want to learn from Sadhguru. I want to learn from the gurus. I want to get enlightened. I want to
Mhm.
transcend earth. I want to
Yeah.
learn the lessons that I need to learn in this life and help as many people as possible and clear as much karma as possible. One of the reasons Ted doesn't eat meat,
Mhm.
so that I can go and see what's next. Because I feel like I've been here so many times. I've run the play so many
Yeah.
times, right? Life
Yeah.
task number 33. Like I wanna finish. I want to do this right. And then I want to go
Mm.
to what's next. Do I want to be as godly as possible. And so for us, we're big on
Mm.
spirituality. Amon sends me he's Muslim, so he's sending me the Quran quotes every day. I'm sending him Bible quotes every day. Like,
Yeah.
and so our team, we just all have the same belief systems and the belief sets. And
Mm.
that works. It works very, very well. We work very, very well together. So finding people who all have that overlapping of beliefs, it's beautiful because you're lifting each other up.
Yeah. I have to say, I feel like that has, even just this conversation, really shifted a lot of the way that I was thinking about building culture in the company, because it's the belief sets that are the same, right? Which is, we cherish our body and we treat it as a temple,
Mhm.
right? Which is, we have some sort of a spiritual or otherworldly passion and desire that we're trying to accomplish. And we do that by being good here on earth, right? And then being able to go for a challenge and understand that, like, life is challenging in general. And if you can't handle a challenge, then you're not going to fit in here. And I love that, because I think those are all just like crucial things to life, right? Like, not even just being in a business. And it's funny because I hear all the time, how do you balance work and life, right? That work-life balance. And I'm like, slash that out, because that's not, like, that's a complete myth. There is no work-life balance. It's just lifestyle, right? Like, what is your lifestyle? Are you the kind of person who overcomes challenges? Are you the kind of person that's always trying to improve yourself? Are you the kind of person who takes your health seriously, who respects the environment that you're in, who respects the people that you encounter? Are you that type of person? Because if you are, then all of this will happen naturally. Like, there's some level of routine that's going to have to happen. And of course, as a mom, you're also doing it while raising a bunch of other children that aren't as mature and aware as you are, right? But but it all comes down to exactly that, which is, like, do you have a greater purpose? Are you willing to be selfless, right? Are you willing to take on a challenge, and are you willing to respect your body, respect your space, and respect other people? So I love that.
Awesome.
You just helped me build my own community values
Beautiful.
or team values. Love it. And how does that change? So obviously you guys have a strong culture around the company, and then you guys have these communities. So how does that work? Kind of balancing the nuance of your company culture and the community culture, which obviously is not going to be as tight knit and valuable, right?
Oh, you're bringing it full circle. So this is where we're going to break some limiting beliefs with people, because
Love it.
you just heard me talk passionately. Like, I wanted to tear up about all of this stuff that I believe in, right?
Mm-hmm.
You will not find that anywhere in our
Mm.
marketing,
Yeah.
because nobody gives nobody,
Yeah.
right? The people that I'm speaking this to,
Mm-hmm.
if it's resonating with you, then you already know what you're prioritizing, right? But the
Mm,
people that I'm attracting, they aren't in that headspace most of the time. Like
yeah.
their problem is they don't have money to get to this level.
Mm,
And so that's what I care about.
mhm.
But I'm going to bring people in and I'm going to teach that. I'm going to teach it. See, I'm starting to get excited. I'm starting to want to swear. I'm going to teach all of this, but I'm not going to sell this as the end result. I'm not going to sell spiritual awakening. I'm
Yeah.
not going to sell motivation. I'm not going to sell inspiration. I'm going to sell, we will scale you to $10,000 a month in your online business, and we'll do it in 90 days. We're
Mm,
going to do this. Absolutely. And what happens is people come in for that end result.
mhm.
And we do all of the things, we do all the tech. And while we're doing that, especially on my calls, I'm talking about all of this stuff.
Mm,
I sell them on the end result and then I give them what they need. There are so many people that come into our program that have an audience, but the reason they're not successful is because they have a limiting belief.
mm,
I break that limiting belief within them. I clear up their karma. I fix their manifestation problems. I tell them, I prescribe people like Nick, my boy Nick Solomon. I prescribe him Neville Goddard, right? Eckhart Tolle. If you're not present, I will
yeah.
figure out David Goggins. If you know what you need to do but you're not working, Tim
Mm,
Grover, right? I will figure out what prescription it is that you need, and I will give that to you in combination with the technicals. I resort back to the pyramid, right? At
mhm.
the very bottom, the most important part is your health. If you're not
Mm,
healthy, it doesn't matter if you're a billionaire. You can't get out of bed, right?
yeah.
So I'm always talking to people like, how much sleep are you getting? You need more sleep. I just had a conversation with somebody in the program. He was getting 5 hours of sleep and his close
Mm,
rate was 5%. He's starting to get 8 hours of sleep. His close rate is 25% now. He's
love that.
immediately
Yeah.
5x'd his income just because of his sleep. And he came on to get technical advice on his clothes, but we
Mhm,
figured out his health. So health is most important.
mm,
Then it's your heart, right? We personally will not even sell people in the program if they're just like, I want a ton of money, right? We don't like
yeah.
those people. But sometimes we'll bring in people who start to make money and they kind of start to lose sight of themselves, or they're not talking with their family. So I'll
Mm,
find people who are having trouble with that, and I'll say, like, how's your wife? How's your family? Like, have you
mm,
been spending time with them? Fixing that, and that will lead to more sales. That will lead to more enjoyment in your work because you know that your wife's not pissed that you're working, right?
mhm,
So finding that balance, heart is so important. Are you going to church? Are you finding your relationship with God, right?
mm,
Big.
yeah.
Then it goes to your headspace. Like, how is your relationship to yourself? Do you wake up and you know you have to take care of the kids and you're like tired? You're like, oh, there's not enough time.
Mm,
We need to fix that. So now I'm
yeah.
prescribing that positive energy. I'm figuring out, okay, what do you need to listen to bring your energy up? Maybe you need to meditate for 10 minutes. Maybe you need
Mm,
to take 5 breaths for 5 minutes, right? I'm
mhm,
figuring out what we need to do to fix their headspace. Then it's the hands. Okay, what skills? What are your monetizable skills? And then
mhm,
it's the how. So a lot of this coaching that I do, once people are inside the program and they already have the technicals built out,
mhm,
is all of this stuff that I'm talking about here. But I am not going to advertise that and try and sell people on something outside of the big four. I'm going to
yeah.
sell the end result and then teach what they need.
I love that. Oh man, this has been such a great conversation. I'm like loving every second of it. And
Me
I think
too.
a lot of it is so important because again, it's like like you said, most of the people that come into the program, they're not there yet. They don't know how to master the lifestyle. They don't have the mindset. They don't have all of that. And they can't afford to get to that point because
Yeah.
they're doing all the hard stuff right now, you
Yeah.
know?
My biggest leap in spirituality came from after I did all the hard work. I moved to
Mm,
LA. Ted and I went 50-50 on the business after what I'm on my third year now.
mm,
And everything was delegated. Like I don't have to take sales calls or I really don't have to do much anymore. I've
mhm.
delegated as well. I do it because I like to put my fingers and hands in the business and see what's going on. That's important for me.
Yeah.
But I have so much free time in my day. And so I just got to a point where I was just like sitting and meditating for like 2 hours each day. And then I realized, oh, I had big breakthroughs. One of the biggest breakthroughs I had when I was in the grind phase, I was always angry at Ted not angry, but I was always stressed. I'm like, dude, how is he not stressed? Like, we're only at
Mm,
100K this month. Like, we're supposed to be at 150K. We need to work harder, right?
yeah.
But, oh my gosh, I was always worried that he was just gonna like forget about the business. I'm like, no,
Mm,
we have to grind. We have to grind. Then I got to the point where I'm not stressed anymore
yeah.
because I know that everything's gonna come and there's nothing that I need to do.
Yeah.
That was the next shift. It was, oh, everything is perfect. Like everything that's going to happen is going to happen and it's going to be beautiful. And
Yeah.
now I'm not stressed about the business at all. And Amon's like, Benny's like very zen. I don't think he's like taking the business as serious as he should. I got to
Yeah.
where Ted is. I now understand. It's hilarious.
You
But
just need to get out of Boston. That's all right.
that's a big piece. That's a big piece. But it comes back to like that spiritual level was not available for me, or at least I did not grasp it at where I was right then. And so if
Mm,
somebody came and told me like, dude, your business will be fine, like you'll keep making money, but you need to increase your spirituality, I'm like, I'll never buy your program. But
yeah.
that's what I needed. Like that's what
Yeah.
because now I'm here, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I don't stress.
Mhm.
I've got to a level where I'm just so zen, but people aren't going to resonate with it early. That was a huge
Yeah.
unlock for me, is looking at Ted, and then I got there, and it's so funny. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I love like once you get to those points where like you said, it's like you're super stressed out and you're trying to figure it out and then just something happens, like just something unlocks and it's like, oh, this makes sense now.
Yeah,
And I always love that. And like from, a Christian perspective, I always like to look at like the way I always see it is God's always going to provide, right?
yeah,
It says it in the Bible. Like if God will give the birds, food, then certainly he's going to do that for you.
yeah. And
And
I also I would be remiss if I did not say
mhm,
this would not be possible
mhm,
without my mentor, Ted Carr.
yeah.
I like honestly, the best thing that ever happened to me in my life, I had
Mhm,
to do the work to get here, right? To
yeah.
prepare myself for my guru, for my leader. But he's the one that took me to that next level.
Mhm,
And so if there's anybody out there that is confused or is trying to do this alone, I've tried to do it alone for a very, very, very long time. Finding a guru, that's what everybody does in the spiritual world. Like finding
yeah.
somebody who is in your position that you want to be in and following their guidance and trusting them, even
Mhm,
when you don't know or understand what they're doing,
mhm,
is the best thing that you can possibly do. So I owe everything
mhm.
to Ted Carr. Everything. That
Yeah.
just gotta say that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like it's that trust, right? That faith and being able to realize that, you know, we don't have to hold all the answers. We can trust this other person. We can trust their guidance. We can grow and evolve and that everything's going to be okay. And I think that's like where a lot of that limiting belief comes from, right? Which is that mindset of like, if I don't, like, how can you be so, so cavalier about the business not making enough money? We're failing, yada, yada, yada. But it's like, if you're able to kind of step back and have some faith and have some trust and just work the system, get better, and realize that the ultimate end goal will happen, right? If you grow into the person who makes stuff like that happen, then you only have the choice to make that happen,
Yeah.
right?
Oh wow, you're hitting on some key points. Yeah, one of the biggest things that I do and our whole team does is
Mhm.
identity. We have our life vision script,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
we imagine the state fulfilled. So every time, the best time to do this is after a big meal or when you're falling asleep or waking up,
Mhm.
because you're in that like minute meditation state right in between.
Mhm.
Envision whatever it is you want, right?
Mhm.
It can
Yeah.
be money in the bank account, it could be a car in your driveway, it can be whatever it is. Imagine
Mhm.
what it is and how it feels, and then imagine whatever you're gonna do, what's gonna come from that. So like you make
Mhm.
$5 million, you're giving 20,000 to your mom. Give him 20,000,
Mhm.
boom, boom, boom. Like imagine all that. We do that all the time. Imagining the state fulfilled. We were just driving home from the gym yesterday, and I was imagining. I've been having this same dream. I know it's such a boy thing, but I've been having the same dream about a slate gray Porsche 911. And
Yeah.
I'm imagining the state fulfilled. We were driving home, and I'm like, dude, don't even worry, guys. Car's gonna be in my driveway when we get
Mhm.
home. And then we get home, and my Tesla, I have a Tesla. My Tesla's never parked in my driveway. It's usually in my garage, but it was in
Yeah.
the driveway. And so I just imagined, that's it. That's the Porsche. That's it. That's it. And everybody's like, oh, there's the Porsche. Like, go insane with imagining the state fulfilled. It's so good. And then ask yourself, another great thing is, whoever you want to be, what would a Porsche driver do, right? What would a
Yeah.
multi-millionaire do right now? For me, after a long day, this is my dirty secret. I don't want to brush my teeth. I really don't. I brush my teeth in the morning. I floss. My girlfriend was a dental hygienist. Like, she tells me all the time. But at night, I'm like, I don't want to brush my teeth. The thing
Yeah.
that gets me to brush my teeth, what would a multi-millionaire do?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, finding the identity. And then one more other thing, because you mentioned getting angry at, I was like that anger at Ted in the beginning. I watched Revenge of the Sith with Daniel Bissonnette the other day.
Yeah.
He loves Star Wars. He's an absolute nerd.
Yeah.
Absolute nerd. If you don't know Daniel Bissonnette, they're doing like $300,000 a month. They're absolutely crushing it. He's a genius. But he loves Revenge of the Sith, and they were playing in the movies. And he's
Yeah.
like, you gotta see it. I've never seen it in the movie. I was mind boggled. I was going on a huge trip because I saw Anakin, and I don't want to ruin this for anybody, but it's been long enough, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where he's going into this dark side, and I literally saw in him a fraction of myself 2 years ago, where I was mad. I was mad that things weren't going the way I wanted, and I wanted things to happen faster. And thank God I've gotten out of that. Now I feel like freaking Obi-Wan, right? Now I'm good.
Yeah.
But I saw it, and it like scared. It genuinely scared me, because there are pieces inside of me, right, that felt like that. And there's probably pieces inside of a lot of people that feel like that. Like, things aren't happening fast enough. I don't trust my guy, my teacher, and I need to go and fix this myself. I'm very grateful that I have the ability to hold on through that period of, I need to go back to trying to do this myself, right? And
Yeah.
so that was really cool. Now Ted and I relationship is more like Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn, which is incredible. But it shook
Love
me
it.
to my core, seeing like there's so many different ways that you
Oh,
can get
yeah.
inspiration. It's so cool. So
No,
cool.
it's so funny. Like, as an adult, we're big Star Wars people, actually, too. I love Star Wars. The original ones, I should say, the original 2 trilogies.
Okay.
After that, it went off.
I,
But
I won't watch the other ones.
yeah, yeah. But I was gonna say, I also want to just like add in a quick tidbit. Daniel's how old? He's like 19, and they're making that much money.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. I just want people to like realize how insane that dude is.
Yeah, Daniel bought our program at 16 years old.
Did
He
he?
bought our program at 16 years old.
Yeah. What?
And then he started making like 20,000. He was making more money than his teachers before he graduated. He was making
Yeah.
$25,000 a month as a 17-year-old kid.
I love it.
Yeah, beast. He only went to school. He was going to drop out, but he stayed for the girls.
Yeah.
He didn't get any, but he stayed for them.
Just to be around them and their
Yeah.
presence.
Yeah.
It's so sweet. But that's so funny. So the team is doing awesome. You guys are absolutely crushing it. What's next? If you can kind of give us a little bit of insight as to, you guys just launched opt-ins actually within the past few months, right?
Yeah.
So how's that going, and kind of what's on the horizon for the group?
Yeah, opt-ins is awesome, because personally, I mean, building landing pages has always sucked. Like, building freebies, it takes like 60 minutes. So we built out optins.com so you could make a landing page in 5 minutes, honestly 2 minutes. And that's amazing. So now we've moved all our clients to that, so they don't have to deal with all that ugly building sites. What's next for us? We want to do $1 million a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're aiming for right now. Getting the infrastructure built out on the ad side for that, to get a good return on ad spend to a level we can get to $1 million a month. That's the monetary goal. The physical goal is to be able to bench press 185 pounds for 12 reps, while simultaneously in that same day doing 25 pull-ups with no break, and then running a sub 25K. That's the physical goal. The mental goal is for all of us to read 40 books this year. I'm only 11 in, so I need to catch up. The spiritual goal is to meditate 20 minutes every single day. and the food goal, the health goal, is to get to sub 10% body fat. I think Ted and I are both at like 13%, so we've got some
Mm.
work to do. Yeah, and in doing that, what happens is we just help way more people. Like when we say make $1 million a month, that means we're getting way more success stories. That means
Yeah.
we're changing tons and tons of lives. That means we're probably bringing on, I did the math, maybe about 32 to 35 clients every single month,
Hmm.
which is super duper exciting. Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. So we will put the link in the description for people to visit your guys' school community, so they can get connected with you guys. Is there any other tidbits or bits of advice that you wanted to give my audience before we wrap this up?
I'll be a little cringy and say, breathe, take
Yeah.
that deep breath. I just breathe. I think I've taken maybe 5 breaths this entire call, so I have to remind
Yeah.
myself to breathe often. I'll say, if anybody's watching this and they've got all the way through, that's
Mhm.
cool. I would love to speak with you personally.
Mhm.
Usually I'm not really taking front-facing calls, but if you've watched this entire call, then I'm curious on your story, and I would be happy to jump on a one-on-one call and figure out where you're at and what you need to do to succeed.
Mhm.
Other than that, if you have advice for me, women, if you're watching this, please tell me how I can be a better man in the space. What are the top 3 things that your husband does for you, or that he needed to learn to be a great father? And
Mhm.
that'd be awesome. I would love to learn from you guys. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it, Benny.
Thanks for having me, Michelle. Good to see you.